What's up, everybody? Welcome into the second episode of Roll D Talks. This is our Roll D5 TTRPG talk show where we talk about the the indie TTRPGs that we played through the week. We're gonna decompress. We're gonna deconstruct. We're gonna detox about it. I am Juli or Juli CL. I am one of the team members of Roll D5. Erika, why don't you introduce yourself to the class, just in case anybody doesn't know you?
I am Erika, and hello, class. I'm Erika Onduin. I'm the creator of Roll D5, and I do things here.
I'm glad you added here so you wouldn't take Mika's
I know.
little tagline.
I started saying it, and I was like, oh no, I just stole Mika's line. But yeah, I'm the creator here. I help run a whole bunch of shenanigans with my fantastic team here, and the ones not here. I could not do it without them.
And we couldn't do without you. Speaking of the fantastic team, Nat, would you like to introduce yourself to the good folks here?
Me next. Yes, I am Natalie New, also known as New to You on TikTok, but I am part of this wonderful team here on Roll D5. I do not do as much as Erika or Juli or Mika. So all praise goes to them. Pour one out for them.
Aw.
Heck yeah, pour one out. And well, that's all of us. So I guess I'm kidding. Danielle, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Daniel. I'm really excited to be here again. Seeing y'all is like a breath of fresh air. Is that how you say it? Good. So yeah, it is. I'm really happy to be here and talk about RPGs and silliness and puppies and everything else.
Oh my goodness, Danielle, you gave me a perfect segue into one of the TTRPGs we're going to talk about very, very soon. A system created by a member of the TTRPG community and our Discord community. But before that, I would love to just open an icebreaker question up to everybody.
Ooh.
You know, like loosen up a little bit. I would like to know everyone's animated crush from back when you were a youth. Maybe, you know, like you're watching all these cartoons as a kid and you're kind of like, oh, like this character, something sticks out to me about them. I am going to shout out a few of them, opposite ends of the spectrum. Number one, Kim Possible, because she can do anything, right? Like she's just like, yeah, this is just like a powerhouse in every category. And number two, Ember from Danny Phantom, if y'all remember her, the goth guitarist with the flaming hair. Really representing the two types of people that I've dated in my life. Don't worry about it. That's me. All right. Would anyone else like to share with the class? And the chat can get on this too. Don't let me stop you.
Oh yeah, chat, come on in.
It's one of my favorite topics.
Tell us. Well, okay, so because I don't like silence. This is actually a funny one because I've had this question come up before, and it started a whole thing for me because I didn't have one. I never had one, and it brought me down this whole rabbit hole of determining that I'm demisexual. I never had any sort of like to any cartoon character or anything like that, and so that's actually what led me to determine more about myself, was not having a crush. So when I told people not knowing this about myself, I just made it up and I said Hercules.
You went for the safe answer, the muscular good boy.
Yeah.
I love it. I also love that is such a like wonderful queer realization moment, right?
Yeah.
Like that everyone's like, "Oh, everybody's like this, right?" And you're like,
I'm just sitting there like, you guys had crushes on animated characters? That's weird.
Incredible. Danielle, I can see a look on your face.
Yeah, because just this week, for completely weird reasons, I remember the Samurai Pizza Cats. And I think I had a crush on I don't know his name, Sushi Sashimi.
The cutest name.
The main pizza cat.
I mean, it's the main pizza cat. How can you not be in love with the main pizza cat?
It's been 25 or 30 years since this. No, more than that. It's been like 35 years since this. But yeah, I think I had a crush on one of the pizza cats.
I have to look up Sushi Sashimi, the main pizza cat.
I'm looking that up.
It's funny because I think I would have developed some sort of like furry fandom, and it didn't happen.
It's a very specific case that you're attracted to the main pizza cat.
Interesting.
Erika, not the flat reaction.
Oh no, I haven't found the cat yet.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
typing
okay.
it.
I thought you were judging Danielle's taste.
No,
I was like, fuck.
I love kitties.
Amazing. Nat, do you have anything you'd like to share with the class?
I'm like in the exact same boat as Erika. Like everyone seems to have like a character, like whether it's a cartoon or like a live action character that like started their sexual awakening. I didn't have any. I had characters that I would want to emulate or be or thought were cool, but I never had any that I was like, I'm attracted to them.
I mean, hey, that's pretty awesome, because isn't it great to have a crush on yourself in that way?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Self-love. Self-care.
I'm gonna take that to therapy.
Natalie,
definitely. We gotta stop being so alike.
Yeah. We're practically the same person.
Oh my
It's
God.
weird.
Y'all should be friends.
Yeah.
We are. She takes me to the gym.
I know. I was joking. I know this.
We should be friends.
Let's become best friends.
What about you, Julie?
I answered. I said,
you did already?
Kim Possible and Emma from Danny
ADHD.
Phantom.
That's
You're
right.
good.
So like
I love
Shigo was like one that I was like, I would love to be Shigo. And then like Danny
Yeah.
Phantom himself, I was like, he's so cool. I would love to have ghost powers and like gray white hair.
Yep.
So yeah.
I will say that does it is a kind of like a parallel case with me a lot of the time, because there were a lot of, especially as a genderqueer person, a lot of characters that I felt like I was attracted to, but I kind of realized I just wanted to be. Alex from Totally Spies, like the brown character with the fuck ass bob. I'm like, she's so cool. I want to date her, and
then you're like,
maybe be her.
It's that constant dilemma of, do I want to fuck them or be them?
Slow down. I was like 13. I had no fuck of any kind.
Same with
Hold hands with them.
Like 6.
Yeah.
I was 6. I had no concept of sexuality at the time. By the way, when I had a concept of sexuality, I was infatuated with Ryoga from Ranma.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
You're another anime kid.
No, I don't.
Of course, Kaoru from
animes.
Evangelion, that hit us when I was 14. So that was very particular and specific. But yeah, I knew. Oh, and the cat was called Speedy Ceviche.
Speedy Ceviche. I have looked up the cat stealthily, and I for Danielle's sake, I will not say anything. So here on Roll D5, we are all about playing indie TTRPGs. I almost said TARPGs again. Indie TTRPGs.
It's the new thing.
We're all about playing indie steak tartare and talking about what makes them so special, why you should check them out, because there are truly so many amazing people and designers out there that are creating incredible systems that we think people need to check out ASAP. Yes. And it came up in the intro, so I think I want to hear about Puppies.
Oh my god!
Do you have thoughts about Puppies, Erika? I think you said it's one of the best games you've seen.
Yeah. So okay, so this is today's Friday, so this was 2 days ago now. So it was actually just on the channel on Wednesday, and it's literally a game called Puppies. Designed by Ren. I think I actually still have the command up for the game.
Ren Dryad or Thorny Dryad on Twitter, I believe.
Yes. And it was, oh my gosh, it was the cutest thing. So literally you guys are all puppies. And you kind of like go on this little adventure together. This one in particular was the Pinktails had stolen at least one toy from each of the puppies, or like this precious thing from the puppies, and they are in the search to go and get it. And the cast had some of the best chemistry and was just some of the most adorable things. We had C Mike from Fables D20, we had Shadow, we of course had Ren, and then we had Amber and Jason. Jason was one of the interpreters for
the beautiful makeup.
Yes, if you like, of course, after this is over, but the YouTube video will hopefully be up either later tonight or tomorrow, and you'll see it in the thumbnail. Had the best makeup, like puppy makeup, and then took her hair and wrapped it around her headphones like puppy ears. Oh my gosh,
That's so
so
brilliant.
cute. Oh my gosh, it was the
That's
cutest thing.
amazing.
Shadow's costume
Oh
game
my
is always
gosh.
so strong.
So good. And so I ran tech for it. I was not part of it. But they made me be part of it because towards the end, when I won't say too much, but when they announced the villain, they named it after me. Because C Mike was like, I should have named my owner Erika. I should have done that. It's too late to go back. And I was like, that would have been cute, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, talk about the villain, like King Erika. And I was sitting there like, excuse
The
me?
audacity.
Incredible.
Oh my gosh.
Audacity.
Wow, they're teasing you when they know that you can't speak back.
Your name
Except I did. I ended up unmuting myself and putting myself on camera for a little bit so they could
Whoa.
see my
You
genuine
broke
reaction.
the fourth wall.
I broke the fourth
my
wall
gosh.
because it was worth it. It was worth
could have
it.
filed a cease and desist.
I really should. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be thrown on me. But
Nintendo on them.
yeah, Nintendogs. But it was like everybody emulated a dog so perfectly. But not only does like everybody kind of like love being able to do that, like I do with cats. Like I live with cats. I know their behaviors. I know how to play a cat. But there was something so special about the system itself, where like your puppy, when you're building them out, they get all these little abilities and other things. And one of them was like wiggle butt or sniff. Like how good is your sniffer, or like what did you roll for wiggle, stuff like that. That really made your character easier to play because they had all these like analogies, little things that were specifically designed for puppies. And it was perfect. We were laughing so hard, had the greatest time. People were playing with like their little barks and their woofs as these tiny little puppers. It was one of the best games that there's ever been.
I can definitely see myself just automatically smiling if I have a GM tell me like roll a sniffer check. So your wiggle actually didn't succeed. I would not be able to stop smiling. And I tuned in. The makeup was definitely wonderful for that stream. And Erika,
so good.
For the people who want to support an independent creator here, the puppy system, what type of dice might they need for it?
They need at least 3 d6. Of course, you could take a d6 and roll it 3 times, but who doesn't want more dice?
Who doesn't want more dice? It's all about rolling a big handful, for sure.
Right? So that is what you need. And then I'm going to find, because I took a screenshot for a guide that I made that had all of these puppy traits. So you could do things like take a quick nap, and you can take a quick snooze and recover some of your energy because you can run out of puppy energy.
That's so cute.
Right?
And then you just fall right asleep.
You could be like a guard dog. You have lap dog mentality, a sled dog, a sleepy baby. And so there's wiggle butt, but there's also zoomies. You may choose to re-roll a single die on an agility check. You must use the new results. So you can have zoomies to re-roll.
That's so cute.
That's so good.
I want to play it again myself. I want to be part of it.
That feels like a great way to just make friends with a bunch of strangers. Like, I can't imagine sitting around a table and playing puppies with somebody and not being like, you guys are the best by the end of it, you know?
It really was, because some of us, like, myself and Amber messaged the chat later, we're like, I'm still thinking about this game. Like, and it's really fulfilling, like, as myself as, like, the creator and helping, like, put together all these casts, when a cast comes together so well. And they work well. Like, of course, you know, the beginning's always a little awkward, like getting to know the person, getting a little through, but like as soon as everybody got past like that, like, okay, we've started the game, here we go. Oh my gosh. The best chemistry was so cute. Everybody left as best friends. Somebody even got adopted, and it was wonderful. Yeah. It was wonderful. Look, I could keep going on and on about this game, but I highly recommend it. It is adorable.
Yes, please check it out for your table, and we repeat games on Roll D5. sometimes.
We do.
If it's a game that really stands out to us, if it's a game that you know the chat is like really going bananas for, we can absolutely queue something else up. So if you liked Puppies, let us know. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the Discord. And there can absolutely be more Puppies. Same cast, different cast, etc.
Oh yes.
That was such like a hard plug too. Like just like hyping it up like that. Like, come on. Our audience, everybody watching this or listening to this, go check out Puppies.
I'm a people
Go
pleaser, Natalie. If somebody tells me they want Puppies, I will message Erika and be like, the people want puppies.
Yeah,
they
Bren
want
even
puppies.
was like, I'll come back. And I was like, you better come back. It was great.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Sounds like a really hard sell. Yeah.
Such a hard sell.
Super hard sell. Yeah.
I'll try a little bit harder next time.
Okay.
Speaking of hard sales, sometimes selling succulents is difficult because people don't know how to take care of them. And that brings us to the topic of Succulent Sorcerers, which is a game that our Natalie, you played on that, right?
I did. Yeah,
And so
Erika
did
and I both played. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, Natalie, I think
Great.
you and I have only been on one other game together, which was a Monster of the Week game, like way back in the day.
It's true. It was like one of my first ones that I played with the RD5 team.
That's wild.
Yeah. And you were GMing it, Juli. And you did an amazing job. That was such a good game.
Thank you. Yeah. That was my first time running Monster of the Week, and though our channel itself will is experimenting with Triangle Agency to support a more indie system, I think we've got a lot of Monster of the Week content for all you monster heads out there.
Yes.
But Natalie, do you want to talk your experience in Succulent Sorcerers?
Yeah. I love that game because, like, I don't know, Sylvia definitely pushed us outside the realms, like, of just, like, use your imagination as much as possible with this. And I love that because, like, you don't have to stick with just succulents. For example, I played a little clump of pincushion moss inside a thimble. That was, like, my pot. And it's so cute. But you could be, like, a fiddly fig, you know? You could be... Erika, you were a little succulent in a little glass terrarium type pot. It was just, it's so cute. You could be a fern, you could be, you know, whatever, you know. So I loved that. I love that system and how the mechanics played out, you know, and what the adventures could be, because you don't often think about plants being the main characters.
No.
And I loved how that was reframed.
So, yeah. That was, oh my gosh. That was one of our most unhinged games too. So much comedy, so much yelling, and it was so good.
That was one of the funniest games.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what's the pitch, the elevator pitch for this game? I did not tune in. I would love to. I heard how excited Shadow was about it, but I wanted like cue the elevator pitch for it.
Yeah, because Shadow was on the last stream and, like, you know, she
right
talked
here.
about it from the GMing perspective, but I think we'd all love to hear about it from the player perspective, for sure.
I'll read the part from the game itself, and then Natalie can do her own. Succulent Sorcerers, you are, you know, I can't, for a lot of you who don't know, I actually wear glasses. And I don't on streams because it hurts my little ears. So now I can read and I can see my screen.
There you go.
Succulent Sorcerers. You are sentient succulent sorcerers awakened by the amazing power that flows through the mother succulent. But the bugs are hungry, and beyond your home live the creepy crawlies from the unkempt. They are coming. Will you be brave enough to wield the power that lies within you?
Yes.
Yes.
Love that.
That's the answer.
So you play as succulents or potted plants. You choose your pot, you choose your plant, and then you play as like a main character in a storyline where you have to defeat the bugs that are coming after you. Of course, you have like a mother succulent or mother plant which you get your orders from, and kind of outlines what the quest is going to be like for the characters, and then you just embark on that adventure and defeat bugs and come up with different challenges. One of the challenges we had was getting up and down stairs into like a cellar. We were like, how are we gonna do this? We're in pots. We can crack. Erika's pot did crack. So it was wild. You did.
Yeah.
All the way down the stairs. Yeah.
Like,
which I don't recommend.
We might not recommend it, but just like from the other side of the TTRPG table, as in like TTRPG producing, GMing, etc., we love players who will yeet themselves into danger.
It's a Leroy Jenkins situation, and I'm just like, you know what? It's a one shot.
Yeah, it's a one shot, and sometimes throwing yourself at something is the most interesting choice you can make. And if you're looking to create a good spicy TTRPG actual play, I often refer back to Persephone Valentine's episode of Adventuring Academy, where she spoke with Brennan Lee Mulligan, and she mentioned like she wishes more players would like poke the lich. You know, you see a lich, don't like dodge around, just poke them, see what happens. It's entertaining for everybody.
Totally.
It's true.
Makes it crunchier. Yeah.
Oh, that's a
80%
good
of my
way to
characters end up either crazy, dead, or diseased.
Diseased is an interesting outcome for being
Yeah,
recognized, Daniel.
what a mix.
Yeah, keep playing
Wow.
with me. You won't have you will all have beautiful, horrible stories of my horrible characters.
Yeah.
Would you like to share any horrible characters that you played recently with the good people, Danielle?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably okay. Recently, I played the Maximilian Bestman. I think we were going to be talking about that in a while. But yeah, like I think that 80% of my characters end up like completely insane or start completely insane. I've been remembering a lot. I torture these poor people. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 a lot, and I've been character that I played for years called Solander, who was basically a sharpshooter who was being hunted by an ex-lover who needed to kill him in order to charge for like a soul debt. And everything about it was like completely dramatical. And then after he ended up saving himself from that debt and like dueling to death with the ex-lover, he decided to start he decided I was playing him. So he decided to start dating a tiefling who was on a pact with the Raven Queen and shared his heart just because he was such a romantic poet slash killer. Bad. All of my characters are like this. Please don't play with me.
Yeah, check out I'm Furious Pink.
Also, the fact that the first half of that, I played a sharpshooter with an ex-lover trying to kill him. I'm like, you're just describing your Gubat Banwa character, Danielle. Come on!
All right, everybody take a shot. Julie said it.
I do have a very fun reason to mention Gubat Banwa on this stream tonight, which is a pre-colonial Southeast Asian TTRPG. I spent a lot of time boosting it because the team and their mission are very sweet, and it's also a very good game. But Danielle and I got a shout out on a TTRPG podcast because of the game we played. Yeah, so
Wow.
so
That's our characters.
Yeah, the podcast Talk of the Table, hosted by Elliot Davis and Brian Flaherty, we're talking with different game designers, and the game designer and also the art director of Gubat Banwa were on, and they asked the game designer Wax or Makapatag about good examples of like Gubat Banwa gameplay he saw, and he specifically cited an interaction between mine and Danielle's characters where I used my like commander ability to command Danielle's character on my turn to take an extra shot.
Free turn. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And then Danielle refused because our characters were bitter exes.
Okay.
So
what's the podcast called again?
The podcast is called Talk of the Table. The most recent episode, Violence Until Glory, Danielle and I got a little shout out about 40 minutes in, which was cool to see.
I really, really, really love those episodes. Like the characters, the dynamics, and the drama that game creates. It's just good drama. It's you get rewarded for being ridiculous and out there. You get rewarded for being extra. That's all what I need in my life.
That's a mechanic that we love to see in indie TTRPGs. Like mechanical bonuses that reward people for role playing, even if it's bad decisions.
Yeah.
But
yes.
The thing about Gubat Banwa is that it's not even a reward for role playing. It's a reward for like going the extra mile with ridiculousness. Like it's a price for being like. I remember Wax telling us like, I will always be. Oh, and that happened too. Like I will always be up for like, hey, is that guy I'm just killing my father? Sure, right? And because it's like this kind of emerging narrative, anything you suggest, whoever's directing the game is kind of encouraged to say yes and encouraged to give you like mechanical prizes for it. So it just gets more and more and more ridiculous as you just say yes and more, yes and yes and yes and.
Which is such an
I
important
love that.
role in like
Yeah.
improvising and storytelling.
Pause for chaos.
Very much so.
Yeah. For the unacquainted, yes and is a phrase in improv and improv comedy where when somebody hits you a piece of information, you say, yes, that's true, and this other thing is also true. That way you are building on one another. You are telling a story together. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go along with whatever the other person is saying. If one person is like, I'm going to hit you with a brick, you can be like, yes, you are, and I'm scared. You know, you don't have to agree with the fact that they're doing it. You just have to acknowledge that you're in the same reality.
Do you happen to know when the Kickstarter goes live?
The Goobot Banwa Kickstarter?
Yeah.
October 10th, I believe.
October 10th. Perfect.
So yeah, let the record show that I think Danielle talked about Goobot Banwa more than I did in that moment right there. So
and I did take a shot, so
incredible.
If we're counting the amount of seconds you've been talking about Goobot Banwa, Juli.
But just this stream, I've been holding back. I was like, that was last week. This is a new week. These
new week, new me.
Yeah.
I just ate them up.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I do want to backtrack slightly to when we were talking a little bit more about, or we touched upon, I'm Furious Pink.
I was literally about to do the same thing. We have the same brain. It's fantastic.
Yes.
That was so much fun.
True, and the same glasses. We have Milo glasses.
Lost City.
I didn't realize that was Michael J. Fox, I think, who voiced him for the longest time. I didn't realize it was the Back to the Future guy. I don't know how I didn't realize that. But I do want to talk about a unique perspective with GMing as well with a new system. I don't GM very often. It scares me. I sweat a lot. And I also, like, if you go back and watch it, you'll see me, like, kind of, like, moving around, like, quite a lot, because that's what I do when I get anxious. So I'm moving around a lot. But I really wanted to GM this game. There was something about it that was so unique. So part of it is a dramatic storytelling game where through the events of one terrible day, dealing with what the worst the opposition can throw at you, you are reborn with the power of a goddess, and taking your revenge and vengeance upon those who did wrong. And technically, it can be run as a GM-less game. This technically didn't need a GM, but I did it for the purpose of bringing everybody together. Because you can do it in like 4 or 5, however many players you have, in their own separate scenes, and then bringing people together as necessary. But we ended up doing one big controversy.
You really put that story together. I was really surprised, and it was really good the way you did it.
You were incredible. Seconded.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna start sweating even more now. Let me make sure my fan's on. And it's what my favorite part was not only the players making the game even better, because I went in with kind of a more different mindset than I normally do. Normally I have a lot more planned out. But I went in with more of an improv mindset.
You improv the mother.
I did.
Yes,
yeah.
I knew it.
Mother?
Knew it.
I improv mother. I knew the only thing I knew what was going to happen is possibly the dad would be involved. Like I knew the dad would own the company, but nothing else.
When you did that, I was like falling off my chair. I'm like,
everybody was freaking out.
Exactly. That's exactly what has to happen.
And it was wonderful. It was perfect. And what my favorite thing is about GMing a new system is we're all learning together. I talked about this actually on a podcast that I actually don't think it's come out yet, or one of the podcasts I did has come out. I don't know. But I did 2 of them. And where sometimes you'll go into a game and a system with some people played the system before, some people are like really into it, like classic 5e. Everybody goes in on a different level of the playing field. But when you come in with all of these indie TTRPGs, the GM is new to it most of the time, as well as the players. So the session 0 is kind of like everybody kind of learning it for the first time, and then you're playing it for the first time in front of a lot of people. And that's really special because people are going to ask questions that like chat would probably ask if they were playing the game. So we're all learning it at the same level. So like I even was like, oh man, I don't know what that part of that rule is. I tried to look at about Juli was like, oh, I know the answer. Here's the answer. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this.
I turn
Yes.
to every single time. I'm like, what do I?
Right?
I like rules. They make
It
my
was
video game brain
wonderful.
happy.
It's true. And it was wonderful being able to have all of these people coming together and learning a system at the same time. And Natalie, you did that too for Pride Month. Which game was that one? Lichcraft?
That was Lichcraft. Yeah. And that was so much fun
Really
because like
good.
I thought I had a handle on GMing, but there were so many moments where I was like, I really need the players to take off from this. You know, I've set up the scene as much as possible. Like they really need to jump into this, and I definitely could have done a lot better, but they shined. All of the players really came through and just like really blew it out of the water. I was really impressed by the gameplay and how the story played out with them. So Lichcraft, another amazing game you have to check out.
I'm posting them all in the chat.
Yes, no, I was just talking. I was just thinking about elaborating on the I Am Furious rules, which are quite simple. I would probably still say it's a fairly rules light system. It is kind of like Kids on Bikes, where you have multiple stats that are all assigned to one die size. But instead of using modifiers, you just add a d6, assuming you're not suffering from any complications. So let's say like your labor stat is a 12, so you'd roll a d12, add a d6, and then you would just roll with that. But I was wondering, Natalie, if you could describe a little bit about not only what it was like running Lichcraft, but also what the gameplay is like and why people should consider bringing it to their table as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give just like a brief rundown of it. So it's basically you are put on a wait list. Okay, so backing up a little bit. Setting is the UK, specifically London. You are put on a waiting list for gender affirming care, whatever that might be.
This was this was done during Pride Month.
Okay, yeah.
That's why this was so prevalent.
Damn.
It was heavy and so relevant to like modern day. Like I'm sure it was written a year or more ago, but it's just becoming more and more relevant as things are getting more intense, you know, politically, with more people coming out and realizing, you know, their own gender identity. And so the wait list that you're put on in this dystopian, it's more of a dystopian setting, is 300 years long. Like you have to wait 300 years to get your gender affirming care. And most people, of course, are going to die out by that time, you know, so they just keep pushing people off from the care that they need. And so your goal as the player is to become a lich and survive how many ever centuries you need to get to your place in line to get your gender affirming care. So it was really fun, dystopian setting, whatever that might look like. It was really open so that you could create it. It could be like a Mad Max scenario. It could be like the one we played in was more of like climate change takes over. There's a little bit of flooding, more tropical plants, a little bit warmer in London. And we dived into it with a bunch of different types of players. They had different types of powers, so they were becoming various liches with their own unique set of powers and abilities. So that was really cool. Yeah, why people should buy it. It's a really good exploration of gender identity, of the queer experience, what life is going to be like in the very near future as we're seeing climate change happen, as we're seeing the political landscape changing, and what it means to pay attention to these matters and really weigh in as you're exploring this system. So yeah,
it was really beautiful.
It was fantastic. I had a ton of fun.
If any of that intrigues you, by the way, the replay's up on our channel. Roll D5 has a good archive of all these games for you to check out. I know I'll be checking this one out. One of the great downfalls of being into TTRPGs is you want to check out the work of every single person, and then games can be like so long. But that's why we're a one-off channel, right? If one of these systems appeals to you,
Right.
you don't have to sit down for 50 hours. You just sit down for 3. You're good to
Yeah.
go.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
I was joking about like, oh no, the UK, and then you started getting into the subject matter, and I was like, oh no, the UK.
Oh no.
Yeah. No, the UK. No, it's true because their healthcare system is a little bit different from ours here in the US,
Yeah.
where you can't just set up an appointment, you
Yeah.
know, for bigger appointments like this, you know, private surgeries, things like that. Like there's a way different system in place where you do have to be on a waiting list. Sometimes it can be years long. I don't know if any of you have watched Sex Education, the show on Netflix.
Great
But
show.
in
Need to
this
watch.
latest season, they're talking about wait times, like
Mm.
how long it takes currently today to get gender affirming care. It can be 5 to 10 years right now.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's a long time for today's world. Who says, you know, that we couldn't jump to that big of a gap in the near future? So
Sex
it's really important.
Education, the one, isn't one of the characters in Sex Education gonna be the new Doctor Who?
That's right. Kuti Gatwa
Is that the one?
is going to be
Oh.
the new Doctor.
He's
Yeah.
my favorite actor from that show.
He's definitely the one who's.
I don't know.
taken
I'm
off the
sure if I
most.
saw them. I don't know the name, but I'm
Eric's
sure if I saw
Eric's
them, I'd be
actor.
like, oh yeah.
Eric.
Oh,
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
amazing.
He was also in Barbie.
Erica's gonna kill it. I mean, yeah. That's true. There were so many characters from Sex Education in Barbie. It was amazing.
Yeah.
it was
I
great.
think a lot of
I-
the production took place UK.
I just added it to
side.
my list, so I'll watch it.
Oh, have you not seen Sex Education?
No, but I sure know who the next Doctor Who is.
Yeah, Sex Education is a great show for, you know, showing. I mean, like it's a high school dramedy, but it also does have actual real life application.
Making sure you understand the message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Things
Right,
I really like
right.
about the first seasons of that show. Like, this is gonna be, could be controversial for some people, but at least it's in your face. So just watch it. And
Totally.
or anything, it's just fun.
Mhm.
And it's well acted and it's
Yep.
well written. So I think that a lot of people, at least from where I'm from, a lot of people were enjoying the show, regardless of the topics that were being discussed. And then after the seasons were over, they were like, "Oh, now I understand more about these things
Mhm.
because I just saw fun."
Yay!
Yeah.
Which is
Totally.
We love education.
Totally.
It's real people going
explore
through
so
those
many-
problems.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Julie.
No, please. That's all I was gonna say. I finished.
No, I'm sorry. Okay. I forgot what I was gonna say. Never.
No.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Oh
It's
my
all good.
gosh.
It absolutely
All
does
good.
matter, first of all. But yeah, I'm so glad that TTRPGs are providing both through I Am Furious and Lichcraft, it sounds like, some level of catharsis for what people are going through, because I Am Furious is literally a system designed for catharsis. The world beats you down until you can violently respond to it. And then in Lichcraft, it sounds like I know that it's such a fantasy for some people to even achieve gender affirming care, but the fact that you can survive for hundreds of years, I think is such a beautiful analogy for all the trans people out there, like fighting for their lives. You know, I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
In this
Well,
game,
and it's interesting too, with Lichcraft because it's a waiting game. So like, I feel like with I Am Furious, like it sounds like you build up to that rage where you can be empowered to fight for your cause. But with this, it kind of takes place after the rage has settled in, and you get this calm where you're like, I know my purpose. I'm using this rage in a quiet way to fuel my goal, which is interesting. Because for anyone that has been under that kind of frustrating circumstance, you do get to that point where it quiets down and solidifies.
Yeah.
It's kind of like lava, you know? And then it really forms its purpose. So I thought that was really interesting. Instead of like using your lich powers to just destroy the system, you sit and wait. I was like, wow.
Love that.
What an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
like I love games when I love games that spoil that, right?
Yeah.
I'm basically tells you since before you start, if you play this game, if you keep on playing, you will become powerful, you will become furious, and it's in the name, right? You will become this force of nature. So in a way, the entire game becomes a kind of like a pressure and release kind of experience in which you're like waiting for the moment, waiting for the moment, waiting for the moment, and then when it hits, the all the tension that's been built up during the game. I'm talking about I Am Furious because it was a very tense game. I think that the first half of it, or like the first 3 quarters of it were very tense. Things were getting complicated, and our characters were tense amongst each other. And then when that release came and everybody released their massive Furious Pokemon version,
great.
it just felt like again a release. And I think that these games kind of have that effect on us players, in which you get that reward for playing, you get that reward for putting yourself in the shoes of these characters and putting yourself in the shoes of these people, and knowing what waiting is, and knowing what releasing is, and knowing what going through the experience of others is. And that's what, probably the reason most of us role play.
Definitely.
What's so fun too about specifically I Am Furious is that because it like details, like, you're not just like becoming powerful, like you are achieving your full like vengeance goddess transformation because of the lineage that is inside of you. It really allows you to get creative. Danielle's character was a social media influencer who literally could not survive without his phone. And then when he kind of like got beaten down and learned that he was like a tool for his family to like control like a technocracy, basically, like the form that he took, like his eyes became at signs. Danielle,
Art.
beautiful. And 3 out of 4 of our players were artists as well. So Shadow was like brilliant enough to put together a slideshow of everybody's like transformations. M, who's like a mail carrier, like grew like velociraptor like looking legs.
Everybody was an artist but me, because I don't draw. But everybody else's stuff was so...
You're forgetting about my stick figure, but I appreciate it.
But it was so good!
That's perfect.
It was so colorful. I loved it.
Yours also too perfect to exist. It's too good.
I realizing that everybody except for me, including Dungeon Glitch, one of our sponsors on Roll D5, by the way, check out Gem Firefly, cool nerdy t-shirts, was one of the players in that game. He drew like a wonderful illustration of his character. Em and Danielle had theirs, so I was like, all right, I like opened Snapchat, took a picture of a white piece of paper, used my finger to like draw my normal character, and then her vengeance goddess mode, I like gave her angry eyebrows and wings, and that was it.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Where can we find those? Are those in one of the channels?
Yep.
They're in the stream.
They're in stream?
Yep. Yeah. So I linked it.
I'm gonna have to go check it out.
But yeah.
I had no idea that system existed, but that sounds so cool. Now I really need to go back and watch
it. The creator actually reached out to Juli. Julie was like, hey, we should do this. Yeah. So I contacted him, got all the information. We even did a giveaway, and Timmy won.
Timmy, our godmod, did win, yes.
And I had been testing that stupid like join giveaway thing in Stream Elements for like a solid hour. And guess when it didn't work? On stream. I was so mad.
It was great.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
Furious.
I was furious.
There you go.
But
that's fuel.
Something that I think that I didn't tell you before is like where I got the name of the character. This like the name of the character, like the character was called Maximilian Bestman, and the thing is that this is a real name. This is something that I knew that one day I was gonna use this name for a TTRPG character, and I'm so glad it was here. And I'm so glad it was that character, because once I was working at an office about 10 years ago, and you know how you have all those listservs of like the million employees on the global network of the office, so you see every single name. And one of the people on my team was called Maximiliano. And once I wrote this email and I sent it by mistake to this person called Maximilian Bestman. And then Maximilian Bestman replied and was like, oh, you probably got the email wrong. And I just sat down in my chair and said, imagine being born with a name like this.
Like Maximilian Best Man.
You're Max Best. Like you're born,
Yeah.
like your entire life, you have a name that just says that you're Max Best. I'm like, who
That
would
is
that
so
character
cool.
be? Who would that character be where that has like their vision of the world so deranged even by their name, to see how that I've always been wanting to try that name. Shout out to the real Maximilian Bestman. I don't know who he is. If he's out there, hello.
We'll find him on LinkedIn.
Probably. But it's just like this name exists. I'm like, wow.
Before we move on from I'm Furious, I do want to say that Danielle's character ending specifically almost made me cry. So definitely check out that episode. I don't want to spoil it, but everything that comes to a head as this social media raised child fulminates in all of this power, and the aftermath of it made me very emotional. It was beautiful and succinct, and a very fun time. And
before we move on to that, can I
please
insert one little bit?
Okay. I encourage you to.
Okay.
I just think it's really cool that TTRPGs that we're seeing now really observe the landscape that we're living in, like socioeconomic times, like it's crazy because now we are at this point where we realize everything that's going on and we have this drive in us to take big action because there are huge things hanging over our heads, and so I love the parallelism that's shown there, because too, like with D&D, like you may have one character that uses like rage, and not even from like a class perspective, but maybe uses rage from their backstory to fuel something that happens later in the game, but that's like one character, whereas these games kind of focus around it and beat that tepid nature by really embodying what we're all feeling right now. So I just thought that was really important.
Gosh, that's so true.
I do get ready. I do. This is making me think about also, even though D&D itself like doesn't necessarily have these responses to the modern world, a lot of people have made it that way. One game that has brought an interesting interpretation of that is award-winning Southeast Asian TTRPG Gubat Banwa, where in the text of the game itself, there is a saying about the way that the warrior characters that you play as live their life, where in the world of Gubat Banwa, which literally means like warring realms in the Bisaya Filipino language, it's not a question of if violence is moral, but when you should use it and how much.
Yes.
And it's a game specifically from a revolutionary angle, because this is a world that is like on the precipice of colonization. And I know there's a lot of people out there in the world who are like, will we be able to be heard if we don't break any windows? So I think, Natalie, you're so right. These frustrations are they're expressing themselves through the art that people are putting into their games, which is incredible. And if you're an indie TTRPG designer who wants to send anything our way, like absolutely, please do. We will put on the schedule.
Please do. We
have a few folks we're in the process of getting back to gear everything up and get more games on the channel. We're going to be wrapping up the stream soon. I would love if we have a little bit of time, Erika, if you wanted to talk about My Boyfriend is a Cryptid, the system designed by our dear co-head of the channel, Mika.
Yes, I'm getting the link for everything.
Yes, let me not stop you.
So the link is right here. So I just linked our link tree, which should have all of the forums for everything. So please fill it out if you have a game. My Boyfriend is a Cryptid. Now, with this game, I like to tell people, if you don't come out of this game with your GM or other players fully in love with you, you did not play it correctly. So, okay. What's the best part about this game is, so Mika created it, and so what you are is everybody is a cryptid, and then it's a dating game. Then there's a bachelor, bachelorette that you need to win over. So you all have these different activities and other things you do to earn things to be able to have the to win, to be able to, you know, get the rose, you know, stuff like that. And I just talk about my character. So if anybody doesn't know, my favorite animal is a moth. And so of course, what cryptid am I gonna pick? Mothman. So I messaged Mika and I was like, hey, is it okay if I adjust Mothman a little bit? And he's like, sure, why not? So I went for Moth Mommy. I went for Moth Mommy. That was the first time ever playing a mommy, Step on Me mommy character.
Oh my God.
And I hope it went well. But I had so much fun with the makeup because what I did was my eyebrows were the wings, and then I had antennas coming up from here, and my eyelids were red. So when I closed my eyes, it would be the red Mothman eyes. So get creative with stuff like that. Yeah. And Mika had bunny ears. Mika was a player in it.
Parentheses, your I Am Furious makeup.
Thank you. It was inspired by my Starfield character that I had just created like the day before. That's the tattoo my character has. So you're competing against each other to be able to win the heart of this bachelorette, and for the GM you can pick who you want. So for this game in particular was Andrew, one of the best storytellers out there, and he picked
play on our channel
mad
sometime.
I know. I think he will be for a game called Perils and Princesses, so keep an eye out for that in November. And so he picked a mad scientist. So all of the like almost like mini games, like little activity dates that you did were all related to kind of like this mad scientist character. And it it was the best. And this is where it's very important too to have players that you vibe well with, as well as having consent, because flirting with people needs to be talked about. And just like, hey, I'm gonna like, we all went in with the understanding of we're all gonna flirt the hell out of each other, because I told Andrew after, I was like, if you don't come out of this like madly in love with every single one of us, then we're gonna have to play the game again. And so we kind of had already set that expectation of this is kind of like this day thing. Oh, thanks, Jason, for your gift sub to Matt. Oh, you're wonderful.
We love Matt.
We love Matt. And Jason was in our Puppies game the other night,
just
which
talking
we just
about
were
your game, Jason.
gushing about. It was wonderful. And so that's where consent is really important, because we all went into it knowing this is what we were going to do. This is what the game is about. So when you're creating yourself, either whether this is a live play or in person, make sure you have those safety tools. Like we all know sex was not going to happen, but we all knew each other's boundaries kind of before. Most of us have played with each other before. And it just turned out to be one of the most amazing streams. We had so much fun flirting with each other, and some of us were trying to like hijack one of the activities to be able to be the one to win, you know, like all sorts of stuff. And it just it opens the playing field for a lot of things to happen, and it is wonderful. I need Mika to get it on itch, I think it's itch.io or whatever that site is.
That's the one.
Get that there, because I have so many people who have reached out and been like, can we play this? Because I've bragged about it so much. So Mika, get your ass on that, because I have a lot of people that want to play this game.
Completely agree. I think this builds a on a lighter topic of like TTRPG niches. If you enjoy reality TV, like this is genuinely a system that allows you to do reality TV with a fantasy twist in regards to like having multiple challenges and like being the winner of said challenges, and then like the Bachelor allegory, like choosing like one person depending on the favor that they've curried. It's super fun.
Yeah. It is wonderful.
Hell yeah. There is one more game that I want to get to before we sign off, and it's one that our wonderful Natalie has played in very recently. We haven't talked about Triangle Agency yet, have we?
Oh,
I was like, what have I played in?
We haven't. I was like, what game was that?
Our little
for the
Monster
last
of the Week
3 minutes. Yeah.
Or is
3 minutes? We can totally
we can keep going for more than 3. We're in charge.
Oh.
It's allowed.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to run over, you know, but yeah. No, Triangle Agency is amazing. And I was scheduled to play it a couple months back and I wasn't able to, but like having the player's guide to it, there is so much depth there that can be applied to this game. And that is so cool to me because you can really build out the situation, the characters. You don't have to do like a one shot. You can have it build up, to a big bad at the very end. It's just so cool. It reminds me of, if anyone is a big fan of the show Legion on Amazon Prime,
I
that
love
show
Legion.
blows my
Mm.
mind. That is one of the best shows. I mean, I love shows like Maniac on Netflix, where you're looking into the minds of what we would classify as like psychopaths, or people that have like really intense mental disabilities. I don't know, mental health issues, which I think all of us can relate to now at some level, if you're neurospicy. And that's so cool to me because it's not a disability, it's not a disorder, it's like, it's not an ableist view. It's very much like, this is your superpower. Like, you can use this for really cool things, and that just like magnifies it in triangle agency. So you basically have these powers from an anomaly, which is just like a crazy monster, or I guess like set of energy from like the multiverse that can cause wild things to happen around you. And that is just such a cool concept. And so you utilize these powers, which are all laid out in the player's handbook, to do these really cool things, to accomplish some crazy tasks. There's a little bit of like Men in Black kind of a thing in there, where you're like, you're not supposed to like let the public know who you are or in on the anomaly. You're supposed to keep the public separate from this world that you happen to know about. And that's such a cool concept as well. And so we were able to create these characters in depth, and coffee plays such a huge role in it too. And that's like such a major part of my life. Who doesn't love coffee? And I love that so much. And you're really able to kind of break the boundaries on what is explored in a TTRPG. And so I would definitely recommend people to check that out. We had some really cool gameplay with that.
So
really fun, really funny.
My question for you now is, I know Monster of the Week is a very approachable system for a lot of people because, like a lot of the other Powered by the Apocalypse games, Avatar Legends, etc., it's just a 2d6 roll, and you see what result you get. So what does a Triangle Agency offer dice-wise, gameplay-wise? I know you said coffee is like a strong element, but like, let's say there's anybody playing Monsters of the Week right now who want to try something else.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think our totals were like 6 D4s that we had to roll. And the goal is to get like as many like 4s as possible to see if your roll succeeds. I would not say that this system is like super like novice friendly. Like, if you're just starting out, you might want to have someone who has played the system before sit down with you and kind of explore it with you.
Yes.
But like, as you learn more of the mechanics, you see how deep your character and the storyline can go, and that's the beauty of it. So please don't get frustrated if you approach it and you're like, I don't understand it. Be patient with yourself. Take your time. So there's no rush on making that work for you. So
agreed. Yeah. One of my favorite moments was when we first played Triangle Agency, and Mika realized that Triangle Agency and D4s, being triangles, was like, oh, that's why this is. And it was one of the best moments there has ever been on this channel, because the creator was one of the game devs was DMing for us.
Oh my goodness,
that's amazing. He's like, our vision was realized.
I love that.
It's a wonderful game.
And hey, if you're experiencing a shortage of D4s, you can check out one of our other sponsors.
Look at you.
Greenleaf
my
Geek.
Gosh.
Guess what? If you're experiencing a shortage of coffee, you can also check out Homebrew. We've said it before, such a wonderful roster of sponsors that really cover every bit of TTRPG nerddom. You got the shirts, the dice, and the coffee to keep you going for 3 hours.
And the coffee. That's all you need.
It's all you need.
That you're set. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
If we have any nerdy almond companies who want to sponsor us for snacking, there's a spot open
for your back mouths.
Yeah, for
somebody
your back
feeding salami into my other mouth.
This is going to sound crazy to anyone who doesn't know this clip of Brennan Lee
Go
Mulligan.
catch up on Brennan Lee Mulligan lore, please.
I literally showed this to my husband like 2 nights ago again. And I was like,
it's so good.
We watched the Game Changer episode where he talks about like snacking and almonds. I was like, honey, I gotta have something to show you.
Yep.
That is so relatable too,
It
because
is.
you just want to eat the whole time you're playing.
I'm
Yeah.
always eating on
Yep.
stream, so then anybody else that needs to eat on stream, don't worry about it, because I'm most likely
Yep.
doing it too. There is nothing wrong with
Relatable.
snacking, and I'm also a very sweaty person from the moment I wake up to the time I go to bed.
Sweaty TTRPG players, unite.
Unite!
Please wear deodorant. Please shower regularly. We beg of you.
Yes.
An extra deodorant always by my desk.
I did, so during Triangle Agency, before like we started on stream, we were like 2 minutes away. I was like, Mika, I have to get more deodorant. Can you please
That's so funny.
hang on 1 second? It's just right around the corner. I just need to grab it. It's starting to stick. Yeah.
Oh, my
relatable.
cheeks. Oh, so relatable.
Deodorant companies, if you want to keep that TTRPG stink off of you, we're also looking for
I
deodorant
actually do have a
sponsors.
business idea for TTRPG related
Oh my
deodorant
God.
companies.
Oh.
So
Incredible.
it's a huge
I love
market.
that.
Yeah.
Kickstarter it.
Love it.
Rivendell
Yeah.
Breeze.
It's like Golden Dragon deodorant or something along those lines.
If a
Yeah.
deodorant has Rivendell in it, I will buy it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you have any interest in these systems that we've been discussing, like Natalie was talking about how Triangle Agency can be intimidating, I know that one of the things that helps me learn systems is if I can just like sit down and watch other people play it. We have that for Triangle Agency, we have that for Puppies, we have that for Succulent Sorcerers. By design, our archive is there for you to use. So please
Yes.
do.
Sure. Love that.
We want you to take
Love that.
these games with you to your tables, to your friends,
Yes,
to your
please.
channels, because these are
That's
lovely
why we do
designers
this.
who deserve it.
Yep.
Please, yeah, and there's so much fun to be had. Their world is so much larger than D&D and Pathfinder, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expand your
tagline.
world.
There's so much more out there than 5e. Let us show you.
Oh my god.
Explore the horizons.
Is that our tagline?
The world is your
is,
oyster. All the other sayings.
All of those things. There's so
All
many
the
fish
same.
in the sea. Except
There you
nowadays,
go.
climate change, and now there's not that many.
Coral is dying.
Erica, why
Please
did you bring it
recycle
down?
even
Danielle,
Why did I do that?
Danielle, bring it back up. Say something
Bring it
fun.
back
Say
up.
something fun.
Say something funny.
It's puppies, puppies.
Puppies! Puppies! Puppies!
Puppies!
Puppies.
Puppies.
That's all from us on Rollsy Talks. If you're sad, remember, puppies.
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 Have a good night, everybody. We'll be back on Wednesday. Catch you then.
Bye.
Goodbye. Rejoice in the